In this video, I'm going to talk about the 8 biggest mistakes people make in filing Georgia tax appeals. The first biggest mistake that people make in filing Georgia tax appeals is that they think they can never win. And I have good news for you. In Georgia, there are many ways to win your tax appeals. It's all a matter of degree. The best case scenario is you win when the tax assessors agree with the value you've put down on your tax appeal forms. But even if the tax assessors don't agree with the value you've put on your tax appeal form, you win because you can freeze the valuation for 3 years if you go through the entire process. And most people don't know that, especially in higher appreciating areas, as in the greater metro Atlanta area. Freezing your property taxes for 3 years is a huge benefit. It's really quite awesome. The second biggest mistake that people make in filing Georgia tax appeals is they think that filing an appeal is hard. It actually isn't that hard once you understand and have it explained to you. You have to understand the tax appeal process was designed for average citizens and homeowners to be able to file their own tax appeals without ever hiring a real estate agent or a lawyer. Of course, you have the right to hire a professional if you would like, but at the heart of the tax appeal process, it is designed for simplicity and it is designed for non-professionals and homeowners. The third major mistake that people make in filing Georgia tax appeals is they don't get or look at their annual assessment form. And even if they have looked at their assessment form, they don't fill out the basic appeal form to get the whole process started. The fourth biggest mistakes that people make in filing a Georgia tax appeal is they don't include a narrative as part of their appeal. Now, what I mean by a narrative, it's a story. For example, if you have an aging property, it's just getting older, the water heater's going out, the roof is not doing so well, the paint needs to be done, the landscaping is not that good. It's not anything big, but explaining that you have an older property with deferred maintenance is a story that you can truthfully tell. Now, in more extenuating circumstances, for example, if you're a landlord, you've rented out the property for years and the property has been beaten up by tenants, that is also a story that you can truthfully tell. Or, for example, you're a property owner or landlord and you encountered financial challenges over the years. You ran short on money. You couldn't take care of the property. The property is not ideal. That is also a truthful story that you can tell in regards of why the property is not in ideal condition to justify the value being assigned by the tax assessor's office. So, when you file a Georgia tax appeal or any tax appeal in any state, my general recommendation is to always include a narrative. The fifth biggest mistake that people make in filing Georgia tax appeals is that they don't include photos. You need to include photos to tell your story. For example, if you have a roof that's looking bad, you should include photos of the roof that looks bad. If you have bad paint, you should include photos that shows that you have bad paint. If you have cracks in the walls or cracks in the foundation, you should include a photo that shows these things. The point of the matter is, one of the biggest mistakes that people make is they don't include photos to help support their narrative. The sixth major mistake that people make in filing Georgia tax appeals is not including sales comps or some other document that support the valuation. For example, if you live in a fairly well-established neighborhood or an HOA neighborhood, chances are you're going to be able to find a real estate agent that will be able to provide you sales comps for the homes in your general area. Now, I do understand in the state of Georgia, there are many areas where comps are not easily found. I have dealt with them, and honestly, they're no fun. Nevertheless, there are resources and there are strategies that you can use to help establish the values you think the property should be. But that's way outside the scope of this particular video. The point I'm trying to make is you must include sales comps or some other documents that help support the values that you are fighting for. The seventh biggest mistake that people make in filing Georgia tax appeals is they don't pay attention to the deadlines. Part of the problem with these deadlines is they actually give you lots of time. Ironically, because you have so much time before you hit the deadlines, a lot of people procrastinate and they end up forgetting about it. Or they don't put it on their calendar and then the deadline is missed. I can tell you, generally speaking, that missing deadlines is really not a good thing when you file a Georgia tax appeal. That is one of the most unforgiving parts of the whole process. Please do yourself a favor and mark down all deadlines in your calendar. And the final biggest mistake that people make in filing Georgia tax appeals is that they never reach out to the tax assessor's office, or they don't reach out to the tax assessor working their case. I made the same mistake early on because you're fearful, you're not sure what to say, it feels very awkward, you feel intimidated. I totally get it. I went through the whole process myself, muddled my way through. Back then, there were no YouTube videos for me to refer to. So I am trying to make your job easier by reassuring you that reaching out to the tax assessor's office is a good thing. They are not monsters. They generally are not mean people. They're generally people like you and I. They're homeowners and they have a job to do. And in my experience, they generally don't have it in against anybody if you're nice and respectful to them and you have a polite conversation to discuss the issues of concern. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button for me. That would be a great help to me. And if you would like to hear more about how to file Georgia tax appeals and win them, I invite you to hit the subscribe button.